I'm presuming that you've looked at EMs in India. I mean, I know that you looked at EM in India for a long time. I presume that you've looked India slightly more closely in the last 12 to 24 months than what you may have looked before. And pardon my assumption if it's untrue. I would love to know what you think is different in India in the last 12 months than what you've seen in let's say the last decade. For a few people, the Jam Trinity and the whole digitalization stack is quite the strong suit. For a few people, it's something else. To your mind, what has stood out for you for India versus whatever else it was in the preceding decade?
That's a very good question, Niraj. I would say, firstly, the corporate sector is very healthy right now in terms of balance sheets. They've already been through, before the pandemic, a cleansing. And so if I think about the whole financing machine for corporates, they're in a much better place. That hasn't always been the case. And in India, with public debt quite high, you really do need the private sector to play a big role to get investment going. And that's what India really needs, right? That's how China did so well with double-digit growth for so long. It was through investment. And that's what you need as a developing country. And that's where we are very positive medium term for India. And linked to that, I would say, with a fairly stable government, we are starting to see reforms come through. You don't notice it from quarter to quarter, but you mentioned digitalization as an example, and I think there's been huge progress if I look back, say, 5 years ago and to where India is now. So it's these kind of things which I think you don't notice it from quarter to quarter, but cumulatively they've added up, and I think India could be at the cusp of a very strong rebound. And final thing I'd make on this is, in India, you look at India, you compare it to the past, right? And that's what you did to ask me the question. But another way to do it is compare India to other EMs, right? And if you look at Latin America, for instance, right now, the growth rate is very low. They're lacking investment in hard or soft investment. You look at Central Eastern Europe, they've been really hit hard by the war. China is struggling with a lot of geopolitics. India, relative to the whole EM universe, has also improved significantly, not just because India's done a bit better, but because the others are struggling. And so from a global investor in EM, a discretionary fund, you're looking across the EM universe, the asset class, and I think that's where India stands out. So I do think from that perspective as well, India could attract significant inflows.